Welcome back, Commander. I'm your host for the evening, Korak, and this is Kane's Wrath on the map Badland Hills. Starts up over on the right-hand side of the map wearing the purple robes, rocking the Traveler 59 gloves. This is DesolatorTrooper. His opponent for the moment in the left-hand side of the map wearing the yellow robe, sporting the Nod gloves. This is Noav. Both fighters ready? Begin! And indeed, ready they are. Noav is coming out strong with his air transports, about to move into his opponent's base, hopefully able to grab a couple of buildings with all of the engineers he's popped in there, or at the very least keep his opponent on his toes. Let's see if Noav has what it takes to take out DesolatorTrooper's base in this early rush. He didn't sell off the MCV, but he did get an early start to a couple of those with an airfield and with the air transport. We don't get to see this strategy too often, so it'll be interesting to see how this unfolds. Air transports moving their way in on the north. They are going to get spotted, and a gunwalker is going to be able to push them out. It looks like this rush has already made its way in, and everybody can see what is coming their way, coming their direction. It doesn't look like they're the only ones to do that, because we actually have disintegrators moving into the base of Noav. There's only a single Venom here to do it, but they are going to go for this power plant and take it out. There it goes. It did get taken out, so he's not the only one who can get a rush in, and I think that was actually the more effective of the two. DesolatorTrooper able to pull one off over his opponent. Both opponents trying to do different styles of rushes and them working out in unique ways. Defense tower was grabbed in the north, if you missed that, and defense tower looks like was grabbed in the south. Looks like our yellow, looks like Noav is preparing for maybe some sort of defense. I'm not sure how well that's going to work into Traveler 59. Traveler 59 doesn't typically rush like that, but it can destroy the Seeker tank slowly but surely. Gunwalker is protecting the Tiberium spike, so still it doesn't look like Noav has been able to find really any purchases yet on his engineers inside of these transports. 1-2 looks like did go off, grabbing those defense towers, so that is where those came from. Venom's here for the defense. Still 2 engineers ready, 1 Black Hand squad still ready to go. Gunwalkers in multiple locations here for the defense to spot what is potentially coming their way. Engineer heading to the south. Nobody's really done too much. It's just been a bit of poking around. We're going to get our first little sets of bikes moving their way in. Killing that Gunwalker would be super useful if they have the firepower for it. They might just barely be able to take out the Gunwalker. Gunwalker should be able to take out one of the bikes. There it goes. It does get taken down. Seeker tank is on its way, but it does back off at the last minute. Transport moving its way in. Seeker tank and Gunwalker are going to start taking a couple of good shots at that carryall. Carryall is almost going to get taken down. There goes Black Hand squads die almost for free. Venoms didn't make it quite in time. Noav not able to support his assault, support his all-in like he wants to. These carryalls are just getting picked off left and right. The Venoms are finally able to take out a couple of units here and there. They are able to kill this Gunwalker, and they will be able to take that Tiberium spike, but it's really, you know, at what cost? You lost a whole bunch of transports, you lost a whole bunch of deals here and there, all just to deny your opponent one single Tiberium spike. He may be able to get it slowly but surely over time. Seeker tank does push his engineer out slowly but surely. Nothing but weirdness going on in this match. Gunwalker into Venom's. Gunwalker does kill the engineer, making that rush almost entirely useless. Venom goes down. Rocket bikes moving their way in to take out more of these Gunwalkers, and they will indeed get one Gunwalker, but that leaves a Seeker tank into those bikes and no real microing here to speak of either player. Seeker tank slowly but surely moving their way into the center of the map. It looks like the benefits for DesolatorTrooper playing a more traditional strategy has panned out in it. His rush was nowhere near as expensive as Noav's rush. It does look like Noav was able to grab a Tiberium spike in the center. So he did grab one from his opponent. It does get destroyed or sold off. I can't tell which happened there. Either way, it is now being denied to DesolatorTrooper. If this goes into a later game, that can make a difference, but I'm not sure we're going to get to a later game. Nope, okay. I thought he did get a sell-off of the construction yard, but he did not put that in for the rush. Defensive tower finally getting some use as it spots the forces of DesolatorTrooper over on the right-hand side of the map. They are moving into the center of the map. No one's grabbed blue Tiberium just quite yet. It's all been slow going, and everybody sort of like reacting to each other back and forward. Tiberium Spike getting targeted for some revenge, moving its Venom moving its way in, taking out a couple of these disintegrators. That's going to be good later on for the assault, and it will help Noev if he's able to get a defense up and going. But this is a lot of Seeker tanks. This is a lot of Gunwalkers to deal with. A couple of disintegrators popping out of there, and it looks like that Tiberium Spike is finally slowly but surely going to get taken down. Defensive tower getting killed in the south by a couple of those disintegrators. Troopers, there it goes. It did finally fall. That frees up the southern area to DesolatorTrooper as he expands and moves. Scorpion tanks moving their way in, but they are definitely outnumbered, and they do not want this fight. One going to get caught off due to auto-pathing here in a second if they're not careful. Disintegrators turning their way around to try to take out this Scorpion tank, but just not quite able to get it. Venom's going back and forward, killing Disintegrator Troopers left and right, doing a good job of mopping them up when and where they can, but you still have to deal with the primary set of forces of DesolatorTrooper. DesolatorTrooper has been able to control the center of the map better than Noev here, and here is the benefits. Here is what he is going to reap, which is that much needed blue Tiberium. First real engagement has begun. Looks like the Scorpion tanks, Noev has finally begun to outnumber his opponent here. These Seeker tanks, I'm not sure where they went, if they died somewhere in the background, but Gunwalkers are not going to be enough to fight all of these Seeker tanks, or all of these Scorpion tanks, I should say, as the Scorpion tanks will slowly begin to mop this up, slowly but surely killing Harvesters, killing a couple of units here and there. Disintegrators moving their way in. That could tip the scales as more and more Scorpions do get taken down. Gunwalkers are here to absorb a lot of the damage, while Disintegrators are here to deal the damage, forcing Noev out of the center of the map, but not before he was able to get some gains, not before he was able to take out a couple of the Harvesters of his opponent, denying at least some of that blue Tiberium. Losing a good chunk of Scorpions in exchange, but going blow for blow with DesolatorTrooper. There's doing sort of like even trades over here, so it's not been too bad. DesolatorTrooper hasn't been sitting the destruction of his Tiberium Spikes laying down idly. He's going after a little bit of revenge here and there where he can, building up towards the late game. Plenty of Scorpion tanks out here for Noev, up and ready to go. Moving into the center of the map, I assume, here in a bit. They're going to need to be in a better position because they're going to need a concave here in a moment. Defensive tower going down in the north, and all of the rushes, all of the advantages from the rushes that Noev was able to get early on are all but lost. Disintegrators targeting the EMP control field, denying that from nobody who was going to take it, but at the very least it is going to be denial, and those units weren't doing too much. Scorpion tanks moving their way into the center of the map. Harvesters need to move their way out, or they're going to end up in quite some trouble. There they are. They're going to get taken down almost for free, I think. I'm not sure there's any response here yet from DesolatorTrooper. DesolatorTrooper is finally moving in a couple of Disintegrators over here behind enemy lines, behind a couple of these Scorpion tanks. They're going to take out 2 Scorpion tanks, and it looks like they're going to get pushed out slowly but surely. It doesn't look like DesolatorTrooper has been able to concave his forces or group his forces into particular spots. He did try a little bit of an ambush there, and we do have plenty of Storm Riders here to start taking out the Scorpion tanks of their opponents with no defenses here. There's no SAM turrets on the front line. There's no rocket squads. There's nothing to stop it. There is one Raider buggy, but that is really all there is as they move their way into their base, start to take out the Harvester of their opponent. There's the first SAM turrets, but it doesn't look like they're going to kill that Harvester, even though it is so close. There's no focus for these Scorpion, for these Storm Riders, I should say. I take it back. They did take out the SAM turrets slowly but surely, so that is going to be one small benefit to them over the course of this match, but they are going to get taken out and pushed out slowly but surely. A couple of them did get a couple of really good shots off on those SAM turrets finally here for the defense, but those Storm those Air Forces, I can't remember their name for whatever reason, I'm a little bit rusty right now, did not find massive purposes. However, they did manage to distract their opponent, so it looks like DesolatorTrooper can move a couple of Gunwalkers in here, start dealing some damage. Here comes the Storm Riders for a little bit more of assault, a little bit more of peppering, of destroying your opponent here and there where they can, but the Scorpion tanks are in numbers, the Scorpion tanks are in mass, and the SAM turrets are there for the defense. It's going to be hard for those units to move their way in. Scorpion tanks asserting their dominance in the center, pushing out the little forces that he has, the little forces that Gunwalker, the little forces that DesolatorTrooper does have. A couple of upgrades for the Scorpion tanks moving their way in. Storm Riders moving their way back in to deal more and more damage to their opponent. Plenty of Raider Buggies here with laser turrets to deal damage back on them. They are being focused on slowly but surely, but there's plenty of them, which means that they are not going to be able to focus on all of these tanks. Rolling into DesolatorTrooper's base, he is an absolute danger. This game may already be over. I'm not sure how he can turn this around. This might be Noav's game to lose. He's just strolling through his opponent's base, and his opponent cannot do too much about it. There's a one-click destroying 2 of the refineries. There's a one-click on the Scorpion tanks, but it is too little too late. They are already here, and the damage is already being dealt. They're being destroyed slowly but surely over time, but it does not matter because I think the damage is dealt at this point. DesolatorTrooper is going to have a hard time coming back from this, even if he somehow does manage to destroy the forces of Noav. Noav not caring about the one-click whatsoever. Sell-off of the drone facility. Probably sell-off of the entire base here in a minute. It looks like DesolatorTrooper is throwing in the towel. I'm not sure what he has left. Nope, there he goes. The GG does call out as DesolatorTrooper loses the match to Noav. Definitely a weird one for you, Commander, and definitely a bit of a warm-up. I took a break after that 6-hour one, and I've been playing nothing but Oblivion since, so I'm a little bit rusty. You'll have to forgive me. Treat this as a training video. Either way, moving on to the second match. Welcome to match number 2, Commander. On the map, Tournament Odyssey. Over in the top right-hand side of the map, we have in the yellow, rocking the SteelTalons. This, of course, is Senna. His opponent for the moment in the bottom left-hand corner of the map, styling the purple in the Traveler 59 gloves. This is Rildcom. Match number 2 is sponsored by Loading Screen PhD. When tooltips teach more than the match ever will. Looks like we're going to get a more traditional game this time around opposed to what we got last time. Keep in mind, like I've said before, this is my mixed bag series. That means we're going to get the weird, we're going to get the funny, and we're going to get people just trying things out and having fun with Command and Conquer. It is a 15-year-old game. You don't always need to be sweaty, especially in a 15-year-old game. And it might even be older than that now, too. I've got to look up the actual official release date for it. Either way, the harassment has begun for Senna onto Rildcom. Buzzer Squad's going to move their way in and are going to mop those up. No foxhole yet for them to move their way in, although I'm not sure it would matter. I think that'd probably be a waste of resources, because if I'm correct, the buzzers can just go into the buildings and absolutely eviscerate whatever's in there, because they don't have any grenade troopers or whatnot. So I think that's what the one of the roles that the buzzer squads kind of have. Looking at the 3 factions along with their sub-factions, everything like that, I don't know if any of y'all have checked out Tempest Rising just quite yet. I plan on doing cast of it when and where I can as soon as they have replays up and accessible. I saw a couple of updates for it. I don't know if any of those updates included replay tools yet, but right now it's kind of hard to get some casts. Not impossible. There's some exploits that I can do if I need to. But either way, it sounds like there's only going to be 2 factions, period, in Tempest Rising. Not going for a third one. I guess if they're going for old school Command and Conquer, that is definitely old school Command and Conquer. Nod versus GDI. What's more old school than that? So it'll be interesting to see the variety that comes, and I'm kind of curious what the idea is behind that. We're getting a little bit of harassment right now from Pitbulls into all of these Gunwalkers. MRT is out on the front line, but is not in a good position, and it is still not in a good position, as it looks like his opponent is not paying attention to it whatsoever, as it's down to half HP and probably going to get taken out for free with the Gunwalkers. That should have been an easy fight for Senna, but Senna sort of sent his MRT almost out to its doom. Watchtower is out for the defense. It's going to be able to take out a couple of things here and there. Cultists moving their way in and grabbing, it looks like, the engineer of their opponent and moving his way into the defensive tower. It'll be interesting to see how this plays out. Does this go to Rildcom, or does this stay in Senna's control? Either way, that's going to be irritating. It looks like it stays in Senna's control. That is absolutely obnoxious. I didn't realize you could do that with the Cultists. That is going to be such a pain in the ass to delodge, to get out of there. Gunwalkers moving their way in slowly but surely, as it looks like Rildcom is trying to keep up the pressure on his opponent. MRT is in a bad position. It's at half HP, but it is not out of the fight just quite yet. Senna's growth has been stunted ever so much by that defense tower. That's going to slow it down slowly but surely, but not by leaps and bounds. Gunwalker's still trying to find something to snack on and not looking healthy. It looks like Rildcom has been able to get good use out of them. He's been able to get good microing and macroing, moving each unit in and in order to absorb damage and soak up as many shots as they possibly can. But the damage has been dealt, and oh no, it looks like Rildcom is not done. He's grabbing the Harvester of his opponent and grabbing an MRT, but those cultists are actually in a bad position. Actually, they move their way into the MRT. So not only do they control the MRT, they're protected by the MRT. Cultists finally getting destroyed there, but forcing the death of the MRT. Heavy Harvester has the Cultists in it whatsoever. Rildcom is just going to continue to be an absolute pest. He is going to get his opponent to take out a full load of Tiberium. That's got to sting, losing 2 units to those cheap Cultists. Rildcom showing the shenanigans that you can pull off with Traveler 59. The thing is, SteelTalons is one of those snowballs that just builds and builds and builds, and the more you leave it alone, the bigger and bigger of a problem it will become. Rildcom has done very, very good grabbing Harvesters like he's done here and there, grabbing another 2 Harvesters, buying himself even more time by taking out these units left and right. However, he's going to have a problem here in a minute because it looks like Senna's moving on to his front doorstep. Rildcom is in trouble, and knock, knock, Senna is here. Does Rildcom have the forces to fight all of this off? He's been able to do a bunch of shenanigans, but he may not have an answer to all of these Titans, to all of this armor moving his way. Storm Column is out. Does look like we got a T3. Something went in for the upgrades, not quite sure what it was. There is the 1-click delaying this assault slowly but surely, but it is definitely not going to stop it. Nerve Center getting taken down as the snowball marches its way into Rildcom's base. Rildcom definitely able to get a lot of cheekiness off, but the cheekiness does not matter if you don't have a base afterwards. We have 1 Annihilator Tripod. We do have a 1-click to save all of the Gunwalkers, but that's only going to be able to do so much. At the very least, Rildcom's able to get a decent amount of scouting and is going to be able to take out a couple of the rocket squads maybe here and there. Oh, how the turns have tabled. It looks like Rildcom went from aggressor to prey here in quick succession. Plenty of tripods out. We do get an Eradicator Hexapod on the map, making his way over there. That could tip the scales. That can absorb a lot of this damage and soak up a lot of money where it can. And it looks like Rildcom has been able to skirt his Annihilator tripods around the south in order to save them some damage. MRT getting targeted and MRT getting taken out. Eradicator Hexapod taking out a couple of shots here and there, but is getting a couple of shots on rear armor. We do have AP Watchtowers down on the front line, moving their way in. Another Storm Column moving its way forward. Annihilator tripods turning the table. Somehow Rildcom was able to turn this around. However, the assault is not over. However, Senna is not done. He is still looking for an entrance, and he's trying to split the little forces that Rildcom has, and it might actually work unless Rildcom just decides to live inside of his base. Even despite all of these units on his front doorstep, somehow Rildcom has been able to stay alive, been able to keep his resources going slowly but surely over time. Eradicator Hexapod taking out a couple of the Watchtowers when and where it can. Corruptors out on the front line to get a little bit of the healing. 1 Titan in a bad spot, maybe get a little bit of scouting, getting taken out. Annihilator Tripods moving their way in, taking out more and more of the Titans, as it looks like death to 1,000 cuts is how Rildcom plans on winning this, just being an absolute turtle hanging out in his base as long as he can. Senna's main forces moving over there on the left-hand side of the map, trying to hit the softer side of his base, of Rildcom's base. Will it work? Is he going to have the money to continue this assault? I think he has everything he possibly can do into this assault. It looks like the guys on the right-hand side have finally been taken out. Harvesters are finally being destroyed by Rildcom, or by Senna onto Rildcom, being slowly but surely taking them out. But this might be the end of the forces of Senna, as Senna loses so much here to actually a couple of things. That Eradicator Hexapod has been worth its weight, probably double in gold for Rildcom. That has really been his only lifeline throughout this fight, and it looks like he's going to be able to turn the tables around slowly but surely. Those Harvesters on auto-harvesting, not able to find anything that they quite need. Annihilator Tripods sort of stuck in their base, and it looks like Man Spam is going to be the name of the game for Senna. He's going to be hurting resources, so that probably will be his best bets. Eradicator Hexapod still taking a couple of good pot shots, getting a little bit of farming done on his opponent. Corruptors now being used on the front line, take out this Man Spam along with a couple of Gunwalkers. That might be what it's going to take in order to destroy all of this. Corruptors are focusing down the barracks. The barracks should slowly but surely be taken out. There it goes. There's one barracks to the front line taken out, and the remaining of the forces are being destroyed by the Corruptors. Eradicator Hexapod still getting a couple of snacks over on the left-hand side of the map, and it looks like Senna actually throws in the towel. That could have gone either way. Somehow, Rildcom was able to pull off a phenomenal defense, defeating the assault, the slow, inevitable snowball of SteelTalons. I thought Rildcom was going to get knocked out quick in a hurry from doing all of those cheeky tactics, but it does look like he had something in the tank, something ready to go, and had a way to turn that around. Things are definitely heating up, Commander. Let's see how match number 3 turns out. I'll see you there. Match 3 brings us back to Tournament Odyssey. Starts off over in the top right-hand side of the map in the red, playing the black hand. This, of course, is UnderWorldFox. His opponent for the moment in the bottom left-hand corner of the map, rocking the cyan, playing the SteelTalons to make things extra confusing. This is SteelTalon. Match number 3 is brought to you by the Lone Engineer Initiative, capturing buildings no one asked for. Not getting anything crazy in this match either. I guess the first match just wanted to start off with something a little bit weird or something a little bit funky. No sell off of any of the MCVs to push any sort of rush into their opponent. Getting back-to-back Talons games, which is fine for me because they, at least aesthetically, are my favorite faction, at least sub-faction. What's not to love about slow walking, moving armor, in my opinion? Definitely more my cup of tea if they don't get countered when and where they are played. I don't know how the rock paper scissors mechanic works out for each faction and how they get hard counter of each. I'm going to sit down with some people and talk about theory as far as, like, you know, oh, SteelTalons in a Traveler 59, it just doesn't work out, or, you know, because they've got this, and this, or this is the real linchpin into SteelTalons. First Pitbull is out and has made its way across the map into his opponent's base, getting a couple of pot shots off when and where it can. Raider Buggy is on the assault and should be able to take it out slowly but surely. MCV getting targeted down, but that's only going to be minor damage here in a minute. Raider Buggy's probably going to get its kill here any moment. Cabal Confessor Squad still getting a couple of shots off of their opponent. Looks like they're just trying to whittle down and waste what little resources he does have early on. Not even electing to go for the heavy harvesters. No reason to hit them. I would be willing to bet that the heavy harvesters are exactly like it says in the tin. Heavy harvesters, as in they have more armor and maybe more HP. I know you can garrison a couple of troops in them, but other than that, I'm not entirely sure. Natural expansion for both players has begun to develop slowly but surely. UnderWorldFox following shortly behind SteelTalon. I don't know if it's SteelTalons or SteelTalon. The faction is SteelTalons. The player, I think, is SteelTalon. You know, just to make it extra confusing for people who are not familiar with Kane's Wrath. One is a faction, one is a player. Raider buggies moving their way in, accompanied by a couple of bikes here in the background, but it doesn't look like they concave just quite enough. There's not 5 bikes here on the front line, so they're not going to be able to get 2 volleys off on a harvester to take them out. Titan is here for the defense. That should be plenty to stop this assault. They're going heavy on one of these harvesters, and they might be able to take it out slowly but surely, but probably at the cost of their lives. There they go. They do get the kill as a couple of the bikes do get destroyed on their way out, but the damage is done. Their opponent is delayed, at least when it comes to their resources, and it doesn't look like UnderWorldFox is done just quite yet. He's probably got 2 war factories over in the background pumping out all of these Raider buggies and bikes. Titan getting targeted down. It is going to be vulnerable to this assault, but it's not going to go out without a fight. Bikes able to get a good purchase on those Titans, able to take it out. Another Titan probably going to get taken out here in a minute if SteelTalon is not careful, but he was, and he was able to save himself and save that Titan just barely there in the end. Looks like we did get a little bit of combat over in the north. Looks like that was just a Pitbull doing a little bit of scouting, looking for some sneakiness, and of course not finding it yet from UnderWorldFox. UnderWorldFox does have an operations center out and ready to go, but I don't think SteelTalons is worried about that just quite yet. Singular Raider buggy and bikes moving into the south. They are going to get spotted by, I think, that scout that was sent that direction. Did SteelTalon not send a scout here, or did it already get taken out? Either way, he's going to know that there are a couple of bikes and buggies on the horizon, and they are going to be looking for something to snack on. Titans setting up a concave over on the right-hand side into the natural expansion of their opponent's base. Cabal Confessor squads seeing a little bit of the sneakiness from SteelTalons, moving their way in, deciding to back their way out. Rifleman squads moving their way in to mop up these Cabal Confessor squads, protecting their Titans. And it does look like we did get our first flame tank out for UnderWorldFox. Looks like he's sending 1 to the north and 1 to the south, slowly but surely. Probably going to move his bikes in and then send in those units, send in those flame tanks. Hopefully being able to see something, hopefully be able to do something. Reclamator Hub actually out on the front line, which means UnderWorldFox is going to see that and maybe be able to take that out. He can ring around the rosies this and potentially win the fight. Bikes and buggies being sent for the sacrifice over there in the south. It looks like UnderWorldFox does move his way in, but he does not see the Reclamator Hub. Oh no, Fox, that is a good target to go for, but maybe he doesn't think that he can take it out just quite yet, so he's sending it down to the old main base. Killing some of that infrastructure will be helpful, but killing that Marv engineering facility, or what is it called, Reclamator Hub, would have been significantly nicer if he had the time, but maybe he didn't have the blue flame, maybe he didn't have what he needed. Both flame tanks are moving down into the south. One's going to get ran into by a Titan if it's not careful. UnderWorldFox still hasn't found any purchases for this just quite yet. That did sound like a Marv out on the front line. There it is. The Marv is up and ready to go and moving into the secondary natural expansion of his opponent, moving into the secondary natural expansion of UnderWorldFox. UnderWorldFox going heavy into the avatars. Flame tanks moving their way in, destroying some of the infrastructure of their opponent. T3 might be in danger. I'm not sure what he's going to go for just for quite yet. He is going for the command post. No, UnderWorldFox cannot decide what he wants to destroy. He should have gone for that tech center right off the bat. He does get it there after a little bit of indecision and slowly is able to take that out. That is going to make a bit of a difference. Construction yard is at half HP. Looks like we did witness a little bit of assault over here. Rocket squads and plenty of units moving their way in, catching these behemoths in an unfortunate position. SteelTalon is in trouble. SteelTalon is in danger. His construction yard's in a bad spot, and he's going to have a hard time moving his way up. 4 Titans over there in the wrong location. 4 Titans in a bad spot. No Wolverines here for the defense of the main base. One does get sent to its doom without even being able to fire a shot as the man spam continues to move its way across SteelTalon's base. There's the body block from the power plant, but it was too little too late. War Factory getting taken down by these Purifiers. Purifiers doing untold damage to their opponent's base. Mantis is here for good measure, although I think you had it covered with the rocket squads. Either way, no Air Force is going to stop you at this point. SteelTalons having to all but abandon his main base and focus on harvesting his opponent's base over there on the side. He needs to get his construction yard probably out of here if he's able to, but he looks like he's focusing more on getting out all of these watchtowers, which will definitely thin the numbers of all of his man spam and can make a big difference, but it may not matter because it looks like the Purifier's been able to make it here on the front line, taking out a couple of these watchtowers, but as soon as 2 go down, 2 more do replace it as UnderWorldFox's assault has been decimated, has been destroyed slowly but surely, and most importantly, it doesn't look like Fox has been able to dislodge his opponent from that natural expansion. Fox actually electing to go for his opponent's natural expansion, saying, you can do that and so can I, and he indeed did pull that off. 2 flame tanks do get scouted, but if they go for it, they're not going to be able to see the MCV, giving the MCV just a little bit more time. Flame tanks do split up just a little bit, one sent to its doom rather quickly. One flame tank moving its way across. No blue flame just quite yet from the blue Talons, from the Black Hand faction. MCV getting caught in a really bad position. Sell off of it as soon as it is deployed, which means that Fox has lost that, and all those harvesters are going to have to continue to wait on those resources. Fox has got to be starving for resources. He is trying to supplement that as best he can with a couple of these units. Marv finishing its harvesting over in the northern expansion. Going to run his way into his opponent's base. No engineers in it just quite yet. Assault beginning in earnest in the south. It looks like Rocket Squad's going to be pretty good into these Titans who have no Wolverines right now for the defense, or they were already taken out. Either way, this is going to be extremely expensive. They're going to go in for the crush as SteelTalons with his SteelTalon Titans are going to get destroyed left and right. Fox is going to be able to split up in time. Still continuing to take out Titan after Titan. The assault does finally get taken out slowly but surely, and actually I think we missed the destruction of the Marv. Nope, I got too excited. Marv is still in the south. It looks like Purifier is going to move its way in, hopefully going to focus on this construction yard, taking it out as soon as it can. He goes for the power plant instead, but he's got the time because that unit can absorb a good chunk of this damage. Purifier is going to be able to finally dislodge the uninvited guest on his front line, which of course was SteelTalon. Flame Tank actually moving his way into the secondary natural expansion, or in the first natural expansion of his opponent, but the second base destroying the majority of the infrastructure. SteelTalon might be out of this game. I'm not sure how he can turn this around. He does have one construction yard, he does have one refinery, but he's hanging on just barely. Both players have been able to slowly but surely dislodge their perspective sides out. UnderWorldFox might lose another construction yard to the Marv, as Marv has just been absolutely uncontested. Fox has definitely not been sitting idly by, but this is going to be a lot to deal with. It's going to be hard to take out this Marv, especially with those units in the front that are going to be taking them out slowly but surely. Defensive tower is going to help, and it is going to do little bits of damage here and there. You need to get it like an obelisk of light or something out on the front line, something to help Fox keep his base alive. Hand of Nod out on the front line. Rocket Squad's probably being produced as quickly as they possibly can. Fox so desperate for resources, having to move into his opponent's base to harvest them. Marv at half HP. If Fox can just get him out, and oh no, there goes another MCV taken out by Fox. That's the second one he's lost. He did get a sell off of one of them, but not quite so on that one. Marv is at less than half HP. Purifier moving its way through the south, hopefully trying to take out his opponent. Slowly but surely taking out more and more of the infrastructure as the War Factory does get targeted down, and the War Factory does go down. That means no building. That means no more units for SteelTalons. Fox somehow able to turn that around, definitely playing on E when it comes to the economy, but still somehow with those flame tanks, somehow with those Purifier, UnderWorldFox was able to turn that game around. That definitely could have gone either way. Those matches have definitely been a little bit more intense as they have gone on in this video. Either way, thank you so much for tuning in, Commander. I have been your host, Korak. Transmission out.